live.
What's up, everyone? Good morning. Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show. Scott,
let's get a quick sound check real quick before you get into something. Just make sure everybody, and if you're watching, can you see us? We have no Logan today, so we're doing this ourselves, and we're going to test the theory that Logan's the reason we're. Oh, cool!
I can see us.
Nice,
and it's like a reverb. I hear it.
Absolutely.
So what I was saying is, it's nice. The AL Central, just to keep the track on the rails. You lose a series to the Dodgers, you come home, you play the Guardians, you win that series. You lose a disappointing series to Boston, which we're going to get into. What do? You go on the road. Yeah, you beat up on the Kansas City Royals a bit. It's like the AL Central is my favorite division, Scott.
I know it is. And, it's hard to say anything different, especially when you come in after that series with Boston. And it's just like some home cooking in Kansas City. It's a beautiful stadium. You got the fountains. You got the nice mist coming off of the water fountains in center field. You got David Cohn talking about the stories of Dan Quisenberry, who used to take the hose out there and spray the fans. It's just like a nice place to go. It's actually, I've been there one time. One of my favorite stadiums. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Big sky, the fountains. It's a beautiful setting, and apparently Bigfoot sightings out there as well. So, it's a good place to go after the bases just get completely worn down by the Boston Red Sox running around them multiple times and beating you down a little bit. So nice place to go. And you're right. The AL Central, it's something. Okay. I'm still going to say that of any team in that division, I still have my eyes square on those Tigers, even from last year, because they have a bona fide ace. That's one. Okay. You can't deny that. They have a bona fide ace.
The Royals had the ERA leader.
Okay, but Skubal is an actual ace. That guy was in their bullpen last year.
Okay.
Skubal won the Cy Young. Skubal's probably going to win it again. He's a bona fide. And again, if you're playing him in a longer series.
They had Skubal last year and didn't get out of the first round of the playoffs.
And if you get to the longer series, he can probably pitch twice.
If you get to the longer series.
Yeah, they got snake bit a little bit. And I think that's the one. That's the team.
Do you know why I think you're saying that?
The rest of the team is because of Gleyber Torres?
No. Oh. Because the Yankees have absolutely dismantled the AL Central when it comes to regular season baseball for years. And they've also dismantled the AL Central in postseason baseball, with the exception of the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers beat them in 2006 in the postseason. They beat them in 2012 in the postseason. And I believe also in 11 and 12 that the Yankees were bounced by the Detroit Tigers. I'm forgetting exactly the years, but that's a long time ago.
What's the common denominator? What did they have?
I don't know. There's no players who were on those teams are still playing Major League Baseball except Justin Verlander.
Max Scherzer was on one of those teams, wasn't he?
Well, he might have been on the 12 team.
But anyway, the point is they had an ace.
The Guardians had Cleveland had an ace in Corey Kluber and Shane Bieber when the Yankees beat them.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't a beatdown.
And the Twins had that Uber driver.
The Twins did have an Uber driver, who apparently hurt feelings, but that was different. The Twins. Come on, you can't put the Twins in the same category.
Twins are in second place, baby. The road to the World Series this year might, for the Yankees, be the Minnesota Twins and the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah. That's wild. Look, I'm not putting anything past the rest of the AL East for the remainder of the season. I'm sorry. I'm not here to say that the East is going to be
not done yet.
Not even close. You see what's going on with Toronto right now. They're probably the hottest team in baseball. Their offense is going to come. And I'm sorry, but those Red Sox, they could score runs with absolutely anybody.
I know their lineup's good. They're just the reason. Okay, actually, first some housekeeping stuff. We've been doing the show Thursday mornings for the season so far. We are switching to Monday mornings. It's still going to be once a week, but Monday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, and then the show will be posted on audio shortly after that. Every Monday, join us. We're switching from Thursdays to Mondays. Why? Scheduling things, but also it just seems that
disconnected. It's disconnected from the weekend series. That's my big reason. I think that when we are the way that Major League Baseball schedules, their schedule is all over the place, but the fact that we've just played
mom and pop from Long Island aren't doing it anymore. It's computer generated now.
100%. But now we got the weekend series in the past is the Red Sox, and the weekend series in the front is the Red Sox. So
Great.
you're
talking about the Sox.
You're bookended by the Red Sox after not playing them for the first couple months. But yeah, the weekend series, like there's it's just usually a bigger series. There's usually a lot more storylines, a lot more things happening.
They do actually schedule that though, because it's like the Yankees have never played the Dodgers on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They play the Dodgers on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
There's a reason when you commit to playoff tickets for the Yankees that you have to buy the Tuesday game in May
against who?
Kansas City.
Against the AL Central.
Yeah, or some or the Oakland Athletics. Okay.
No, whenever you buy playoff tickets, the tickets you are stuck with the following season is never a division opponent. It's never a weekend game. It is without a doubt a Tuesday versus the AL Central.
Unless you're with your boy who negotiated for some Milwaukee opening series tickets.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, so yes, the move to Monday morning I think makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people watching the show will be happy for that. It's just easier for us to talk about the weekend and then what's coming up. I think it'll just be better. So I'm excited for that. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the weekend a couple days ago before we touch on some other things so far. Going into that series, so I remember Logan when he was asked us that question maybe 2 weeks ago. Do you think this is a tough stretch coming up? We've got Cleveland, Boston, and then Kansas City, Boston. I was like, yeah, it's a tough stretch. It's like all those teams are competitive enough, and anytime you play the Red Sox, it's never going to be easy. However, I put the caveat in. The Red Sox are kind of dysfunctional so far this season. Like, yeah, their lineup is good and they've scored a lot of runs, but they have an obscene amount of one-run losses this year. I think it was
17. It was 17 when they were talking about it during our series.
And I think it's 18 now because they lost an extra inning game this week after they left. So call that fluky, call that water will find its level, but Can we talk about that real quick too? Because we were talking about this in our text chat, and Neil Keefe made a comment that I need to respond to a little bit on the show. He said something about like the fact that people look past the 17 game series and say that's fluky, that's bad luck. No, that's a bad team. That's a bad team that throws the ball around, doesn't play good defense. It's a bad most errors in the league.
And so this is my response to that. Yes, it's both. It's absolutely both. Because even if you're a bad team on the major league level, as like the Boston Red Sox with the talent, with the names that they have, the way that they hit, 17 one-run games in June, the beginning of June, is crazy. That's crazy. That's a lot of one-run games to lose for a season, let alone the first couple of months of the season. So yes, I think that there's certainly a factor that they're a bad team and finding ways to lose. I'm sure I'm not watching all those games, but that's going to come around. I'm sorry, for a team like this. If you said that to me about Oakland or a team that was just like a dumpster team, okay, I would say that that's probably because they're just a very bad team.
Oakland doesn't exist anymore, Scott.
Whatever. It's like saying the injured list. I'm not going to get canceled for saying Oakland. And if you said that to me about Colorado, sure, bad team. Like that,
Colorado's not good enough to be.
They don't even have one-run games. You're right. But Boston, with the way that they hit, that's going to come around, and I think that
maybe
Cora gets those guys to play.
He does. No. So here's the thing. We've given Cora a lot of credit in the past. I have. Everyone knows this. Yeah, you can call me a hypocrite. I'm a Patriots fan, so I've been listening to some Boston radio about the Patriots because I'm interested about them this year. They hired Vrabel, blah blah blah. They've got Steph Diggs doing pink cocaine on boats. It's a fun storyline.
Yeah.
But by osmosis, I get some Red Sox takes in there. Mm-hmm. Cora apparently has lost the team. He's like in arguments with the front office constantly. He was backing Devers basically about not playing. The general manager wanted Devers to play the field, and Cora is having his players back being like, no, you asked him to DH. Now he can only do like, dude,
that's exactly what I'm talking about. He's got he's there for the players. He's fighting.
That's a bad manager. Cause as the manager, you should be getting your players to do what's best for the team.
Oh my God. If Aaron Boone would have half the spine and stand up to the nerds and the people that are telling him what to do.
He stands up for his players.
No. He makes a fault for his players. It's different. This man, Cora takes a stand and actually has an opinion.
Okay, I disagree on this one.
Cora is a baseball player, and he knows how to get the guys on the field. And I think they're not playing well. They have a lot of young players too. Like that's going to get cleaned up. you see a lot of young players on that team right now.
They have a lot of young talent.
And they're getting even younger.
They just called up Roman Anthony, who's the top prospect in all of baseball. So, but like with Boone last year, remember
the second coming of Rocco Baldelli.
Boone, Pride of Rhode Island. Boone last year didn't move Gleyber Torres. He asked him, or him and Cashman, some combination, asked Gleyber Torres to play third base, and then Gleyber Torres refused. And I guess they made the decision Gleyber Torres is not mentally strong enough to just go play third base against his will. And so they had Jazz do it. But this year, you saw Boone make the decision, what's best for the team is moving Jazz over to third base. And we even questioned that at the time. We were like, why not just move DJ over to third base and keep Jazz at his more natural position? Now, listen, I know Jazz hasn't been great since coming off the IL, and now he's also potentially injured again, left the game last night with a groin issue. But one thing that's been for sure is DJ's looked a lot better than we thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
Playing second base. He's not a complete disaster.
No, he's hitting damn 400 in the last 7 games.
At the start of June, so 12 days ago, his OPS was hovering around 500. A 500 OPS is pitcher level offense. Okay. It's up to like high 700s right now. So yeah, it's just been a hot 10 days that have bumped that up. But I didn't think DJ LeMahieu had a hot 10 days in him. I thought he was completely toast. And if Boone, credit to Boone for this, if he evaluated, I think keeping DJ at second base is going to get the most out of him. So
I don't know if that's directly compared. I think, again, we talked about this last week. The move for Jazz over there makes a lot of sense because, and we were fine with this because if it depends on what they can acquire, if they need to acquire someone, like let's say DJ keeps going and they don't need to acquire somebody, then okay, then you're good where you are. If you do need to acquire someone, it could be a second baseman, it could be a third baseman. So getting Jazz reps over there in June is a smart thing to do at this point because you just don't know what your roster is going to look like at the end of July. And if that's the case, and he does need to play third, let's get him started now rather than starting in August.
Because why? That is the best thing for the team. And
so we had a willing
player's position. Okay. Yes, of course. It's Jazz is a team, has been a team guy, and Devers has not been a team guy.
And Gleyber, to circle this, and Gleyber is not Devers.
And to circle this back to the Red Sox, like they have dealt with a lot of dysfunction so far this year, and a lot of 1-run losses, partially due to making errors in the field. I kind of compared them to like a worse version of the Yankees that we've complained about over recent years, where they don't hit with runners in scoring position. They don't play fundamental baseball. They don't run the bases. They throw the ball around, and their pitching staff isn't very deep. That's why they've lost a lot of one-run games. I'm sure there's also some flukiness to that, as there is in any sports, but especially baseball. But maybe also the dysfunction has led to some of those losses in 1-run games. Like when you're dealing with a cloud of crap around your organization, winning on the field just becomes harder. It just does.
100%. And Devers, to start the season was one of the worst players in baseball offensively. Like it took him a while to get going because he didn't have a true spring training. There wasn't the true ramp up that he normally has. And now
he refused to play.
And now he's back to who he is and hitting the cover off the ball, destroying the Yankees. I think it's a different situation. I think they're a much younger team. I think that Cora by midseason, these guys will be humming, and maybe to me that's a scary thought.
But that doesn't change
if they go out and get some pitching.
That doesn't change the fact they came into Yankee Stadium last weekend reeling, and the Yankees lost 2 out of 3 to them when they should have taken at least 2 out of 3 for them, especially with the runs the Yankees put up in that series.
Yeah.
To lose the series was disappointing. And you can look at the games and how they went, right? Like the Yankees scored a ton of runs off Buehler early on Friday, and then they hung on to win that game. Saturday, Yarborough was bad. And listen, I've talked up Yarborough every single episode for the past 3 or 4 weeks.
And real quick, on Friday though, before you even get to that, though, Warren was of the 3 you're looking at them. Who do you have the least confidence in? Yeah, it's Will Warren.
Sure.
And they win that game, and he was very good up
through the 5th, and then he got into a little bit of trouble. And that's one of those situations where they have a big lead, so they're probably just trying to stretch him. They're like, we're probably going to need the bullpen, but at the same time,
he was so good. Look, I'm telling you, I made a note in here. I was thinking
third time through the order, though. It's just like, how many times have we seen this story?
The guy, I was just I made mental notes when I was watching him because and again the stuff conversation, but the stuff his movement when he is hitting his spots, like you can see where the top prospect there. The guy spins the ball beautifully, and when he's hitting his spots, he's very difficult to pick up. He's very difficult to square up. And when he starts losing control, that's it. Like for him, like obviously that's his kryptonite. So, but the fact that they won that game and you're looking at this series, how it's lining up with the way that Yarbrough is pitching, the way that Rodon had been pitching, you're looking at it like, yes, okay, this is lining up to be well. And guess what? The reason why I'm not like, crushing them for this loss is because they scored the runs and the pitching has been so good that they were not good in this game. They were not
against a good lineup. The pitching had been so good against inferior lineups. When did the pitching struggle recently? Against which team, Scott?
Yeah, I know the team, but
the Dodgers and the Red Sox with hitters. Both of those lineups have hitters in them. Who did they mow down? The Guardians,
the Rockies,
the Angels, the Rangers. The Rangers came into Yankee Stadium.
Rangers have hitters too. They're just not hitting.
They were the second to worst offense in baseball.
I know.
They scored the second least amount of runs in baseball. Okay, so yeah, they have hitters. Seager out of the lineup. And the rest of the lineup scored the second least amount of runs in baseball. So
I need to, but when I'm looking at the way that went down, they scored enough runs to win these games, right?
Yes,
they scored enough runs. And even if you have like an off day with some of the pitching, like probably should have won the games as well. But the Red Sox came in and they were hitting the ball all over the place. They were taking advantage of everything. And that's the type of, they're going to run a lot. They're going to spray the ball all over. And yeah, Meyer got called up. They have the other kid that was in right field that screwed up a couple of them screwed up plays in the outfield. Like
this is because none of them have positions.
I know none of them because they're just bringing baseball players up to
no. They're bringing hitters up. They're not bringing baseball players.
They're bringing baseball players up to hit, and then they'll figure it out. Yeah, exactly.
Because they have like 6 DHs.
Yeah. I think Water will find his level there, and if they get some pitching, that's going to be a team that's going to be a problem in August and September.
They have Crochet, who the Yankees actually got to. Wells, We're going to talk about Austin Wells and the Yankees catching situation, but he had a huge home run off of Crochet, that dude is like, he's big. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
And he's got kind of a unique leg kick wind up type of thing. Like I can see how the deception is there. And so for Wells to go lefty on him, I thought was an impressive at bat. But the Yankees hit Crochet, but Yarbrough was just terrible. And then
Wells also had a double. It was a home run, then a double as well. Like the double that he hit, I thought was even better. Was an even better piece of hitting because it was
that the opposite field.
Yes, it was a ball away that he went with. And Austin Wells, for the majority of the season, has just been swinging through those balls, trying to either hit him up the middle or hit him to right field. And it hasn't been working. And you can tell he's got that, that Cameron Maybin approach, that middle of the field approach a little bit, and then good things happen. Balls start shooting off the bat. You find the barrel more. You go up the middle, and all of a sudden you're hitting towering home runs on the pull side. So yeah, he's coming up, but that was a really tough piece of hitting. I thought he was very good.
Agree. And then Sunday, Rodon, it's hard to kill him because he's been so good, but his worst start in a long time, perhaps his worst start of the season, 8 hits in 5+ innings, 5 runs. And him and the bullpen just got shelled and they couldn't keep up with the Red Sox offense. And the Yankees pitching was so good in the month of May. It was historically good in the month of May. Rodon has been great all season. Fried has been great all season. It's just, I hate that the way my brain works is I look and I'm like, I don't say
it's a good team.
Well, no, I don't say, oh, Fried has been one of the best pitchers in baseball. Rodon has been unbelievable this season. Just bad starts. Because I look at who they were against and I see Fried struggle against the Dodgers and Rodon struggle against the Red Sox. And I'm like, huh. So you go up against a tough team and a tough lineup and you struggle. And then you go out there, your next start, Fried against the Guardians. And what did we say he was going to do?
Shove. I hope everybody put their entire life savings on that because you would have won.
And I don't know who's Rodon facing next. Well, he's going to face the Red Sox again. So
there you go.
Let's see. Rodon, here's your chance at redemption. Okay. Shut me up, Carlos, Because right now, my opinion of you is you are not to be trusted. Yeah, you can go shove against the Angels. You can go shove against the Rockies. You're going to suck against the Red Sox. What good are you to me if you can't beat a good team? I don't care that you can go 7 shutout innings.
Did he pitch well in the playoffs?
Last year?
Yeah.
He had a bad start against Kansas City, and then he had a good start against Cleveland. And then I forget his start in the World Series. Was it good or bad? I don't remember.
Well, I want you to tell me that so that you can ingrain things in your brain. So he had one good start against the AL East. Or I'm sorry, the AL Central. One bad start against the AL Central. I have to. I'm on the other side of the fence, obviously, because I'm a sane human being, and I'm going to say that this is a long season, and this man was due for a start.
Just coincidence. He struggles against a good team,
and the Red Sox. Well, you just told me how dysfunctional this team is, so they're not a good team. And,
good offense. Excuse me. Good offense. They can hit. They're not a good team. They can hit though.
And so the opportunity for him to find at some point going to find a lull, and the Red Sox were just on the schedule that day. So
it's like I don't know. So I've been playing some golf consistently this summer. Haven't played golf in a while, so like I've been doing a lot of golf analogies. It's like, okay, yeah, I parred the 305-yard par 4 that has no bunkers and no water and is as wide as a football field. But then I struggle on the par 5 that's 600 yards dogleg. It's like, oh, what's the common denominator there? It's not that it's just a fluke that you struggle. It's like you played a hard hole, or you faced a hard lineup. That's why you struggled. You didn't face a team that has maybe 1 or 2 or 3 hitters and then 6 or 7 hitters you can just coast against. You're facing a lineup with 7 or 8 hitters that you have to grind against.
Some people relish the fact that they could just take a driver and then a 4-iron and just hit it as far as they can and hit it,
professionals.
Whereas you get a par 3 and you have to pull out a wedge and it scares the living shit out of you, and then takes you 9 shots to get out of the grass and the bunker and to get onto the putting green, and then you have to putt and do all those things. So it really is just different strokes for different folks. My question for you is like, how are the mental gymnastics for you on the golf course? Have we played golf together? I don't think we have we?
Yeah, one time.
Where?
It was with Peter and Graham.
Oh yeah, in Jersey, right? Yeah, the mental gymnastics of
I'm not mental golf on the golf course, because the way I look, I'm not trying to be. I'm not. I have no delusions of grandeur. Okay, I know what
expectations are in line.
I'm out there having fun. Okay, I can hit. I always say this. I'm not a good golfer. I can hit good shots. Yeah, because I don't. I have like if I play consistently, maybe I could be better. But I don't. I'm never expecting to be a scratch golfer, right? So I'm out there having fun. Do I want to be better? Sure. But if I duff a shot, I'm not flipping out, throwing my golf clubs. Yeah, be realistic.
No, again, that's exactly right. Be realistic. You can't be perfect every night. Can't be perfect every night. You're going to go out there and you're going to shank a shot occasionally. And you know what? It might be on the most beautiful course you've ever played, or it might be on Orchard Hills and a county course, and you paid $20.
I just played there.
No, so you know what I'm saying? Like your body doesn't tell you where you are. It just happens. Okay.
Can I do a quick side?
I appreciate you walking right into my beautiful analogy.
I just played at Orchard Hills. So I was playing with this guy who he's also a dad in the area. So our kids get it. So we've been playing golf. Anyway, there's this hole. I think it's the 6th hole where they've had the people that live along that hole complained so much about balls flying in their yard that the golf course set up a temporary tee box basically in the trees, so you can't hit driver on this hole. It's a par 4, and you have to hit like a fairway wood or a iron, because trees are up your ass. Okay, if you hit driver, you're hitting a tree branch. You can hit a flush shot, you're hitting a tree branch. And so because the people complain so much, they set up nets and they push the tee box all the way over to the right, so you have to basically hit a layup shot off the tee. And I got angry because I hit a beautiful 3-wood off the tee, and it took the nastiest of hops right into this like freaking US Open level rough.
Well, there's no way that the grass is groomed that well there. I mean, when you buy a house,
fescue, the tall fescue,
when you buy a house on a county course, okay, you should understand what's happening here, and nor should and the county should not listen to those arguments.
Not listen to those people. But the county course is looking good because we've had quite a bit of rain up here.
That's one of the best things about Bergen County, to be honest, is the county card. The county card is a tremendous thing.
30,
If anybody
38
doesn't know about
bucks,
it, yeah,
38 bucks around with the county card.
yeah, it's great. Grew up with that county card, used to ride
So
my
this is
bike right
now
past
this is now a golf podcast.
It's a bad one too. But anyway, yes. Point is, you're going to have the bad ones, and unfortunately, came against the Red Sox, and you can't really miss much against that lineup. And I think that lineup is only going to get better. You have the number one prospect in baseball, who's now coming in on what June 9th, what was it when he made his debut, something like that.
And they're doing some fudgery with service time, by the way.
Whatever. I mean, I don't care anymore. It's such a non-story at this point. The kid's up, he's up, he's playing. Number one prospect in baseball. And like, they kind of had to push him. Like, they have a bunch of outfielders that are really young coming in, and they signed guys. It's like they're trying to do a little bit of what the Braves have done, although it's not working. I was praising what he did, signing all these guys to long-term contracts. We'll see how it plays out. Yeah. When the Braves
they just signed, or the Red Sox just signed one of their prospects, didn't
Crawford, right? Yeah, they did for
I do want to talk
a good value
about one more storyline from that Red Sox series. But first, if you're a small business owner, you don't have the luxury of clocking out early because your business is on your mind 24/7, 365. And when you're hiring, you also need a partner that grinds just as hard as you do. That hiring partner should be LinkedIn Jobs. You post your job on LinkedIn. They have a new feature that also helps you write job descriptions quickly so you can get your job posted and in front of the right people fast. You can either post it for free or pay to promote it. Promoted jobs get 3 times more qualified applications, so you definitely want to think about paying to promote it. Getting those qualified candidates is the most important thing. 72% of small to medium-sized businesses using LinkedIn say it helps them find high-quality candidates. You can also let your network know that you are hiring by adding the hiring frame to your profile picture to get even more qualified candidates. Listen, if you're looking for a job, where's one of the first places you always look? You go to LinkedIn. So why, if you're hiring, wouldn't you make the first place you post your job LinkedIn? Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Bronx, linkedin.com/Bronx to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. This dude, Hunter Dobbins. So this became a story on Sunday Night Baseball when they were talking to Jazz. By the way, had you ever seen an infield interview before? I don't think I've ever seen them do an interview with an infielder before.
Yeah, I have. I've seen it.
Okay.
But
seems difficult.
The ball found him pretty quick.
Seems difficult. Maybe stick to the outfielders where they have a bit more reaction time. But
yeah, it's not easy. I wouldn't want to be on there. He's like, hold on a minute. He's got to do a prep step and like get ready for the ball. And, yeah. And then a ball's hit right to him and then he fumbles it. It's not great.
So they were talking about how Hunter Dobbins said that he would retire before signing with the Yankees. Basically, if no other teams in baseball were willing to sign me and the Yankees were, I would say, F you, I'm retiring instead, which in and of itself is a ridiculous thing to say. But if that's all that it is, you can be like, okay, he grew up a Red Sox fan. He's playing the Yankees. He's shit talking. He's pandering to Red Sox fans. Whatever, even if I don't believe it. When this story became ridiculous is that apparently like media followed up with him on it. And he said his dad was a diehard Red Sox fan. Not only that, his dad was drafted by the Yankees and then never given a shot apparently in the Yankees organization, and they traded him to the Arizona Diamondbacks. And that is one of the reasons why him and his dad have had this deep-seated hatred for the Yankees, because like they did him dirty. So Joel Sherman like starts to fact check this because, it's 2025 and there's the internet, and it's not like his dad was drafted in 1925 where there was no record of anything. His dad was apparently drafted in the 90s, except not by the Yankees. No record of him being drafted by the Yankees. In fact, there's no record of his dad being drafted by any Major League Baseball team. The only record of who they think is his dad playing baseball at any professional level is in the independent league. It's for a team that later became an affiliate of the Arizona Diamondbacks, because when he played there in 1997, What didn't exist in 1997? The Arizona Diamondbacks, because they didn't exist until 1998. They asked Brian Cashman, do you know who this guy is? Did you draft him? Because, Brian Cashman has been with the Yankees since the 80s. He's like, I don't know that guy. So, like, the fact that, like, they fact checked this and none of it is backed up just makes you question, like, why make up this elaborate thing? Like, you hate the Yankees, fine. Shit talking is fun, fine. But, like,
yeah, but here's what's funny. Here's what's funny is that I don't think it was him that made it up.
His dad.
Yeah.
He's not as fun with his dad. Like, what the hell?
His dad made this story up 25 years ago before the kid was born. And now, like, he just, like, stuck with it for as long as it is.
He didn't think his dumbass kid.
My kid made the major leagues and is pitching against the Yankees, and then opened his mouth about never playing for them because there's a deep-seated hatred. Yeah.
That's exactly so good.
That is exactly so good. What happened.
Oh, they got to talk to the dad. Can we get the dad on? Just be like, dude, you didn't think this was ever going to come back around, did you?
That's great. Actually, it's funny because Kemp is in a baseball camp this week, and it's an independent, like, summer league. These guys, play different colleges, and they go and they play in these summer leagues for a showcase, essentially. And with the field that they played on last night, we looked it up. They had stone dugouts, like, built into the side of a hill that was stone. I'd never seen that before. It was awesome. But they had apparently started playing at this stadium or at this field at one point in the early 1900s. It's been around for that long. And the independent team was there since, like, the 1920s, and then has been playing ever since, with a brief pause because of the war. Crazy. Wow. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It felt like Bull Durham. It felt like Bull Durham. Like, you walk up and, like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So maybe he played there.
It's just funny. It's funny. Like, this dude, his dad lying, like, basically stole the Ken Griffey Jr. story. Where it's like, Ken Griffey Sr. did play Major League Baseball, confirmed video evidence of him playing Major League Baseball for the Yankees. Noted feud with George Steinbrenner, which is why Ken Griffey Jr., maybe top 5 baseball player of all time, said, I never want to play with the Yankees. Okay, fine. You're Ken Griffey Jr. You can say that.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
All right. So we mentioned the Yankees, or Wells specifically, really raking the ball recently. He had an awesome series over the weekend against Boston, specifically good at-bats against Crochet, and he's had a big series so far against Kansas City. But I wanted to talk about just the Yankees catching production in general and what they're going to do going forward, because we got the report that Ben Rice is going to play catcher with Stanton coming back off the IL soon. Got to find spots in the order for Ben Rice because Stanton's going to be DHing most of the time. So if you look at the Yankees catching production just across Major League Baseball, it ranks 8th as far as WRC plus goes. 103 WRC plus, 3% better than league average offensive production wise. So 8th, the fact that 3% better than league average is 8th in Major League Baseball kind of tells you a lot about the catching offensive position around the league. But they rank 23rd in batting average and 17th in on-base percentage. Home runs have basically saved the production there for the Yankees. And this Wells hot streak couldn't have come at a better time because he had really been bad so far this season. His numbers before the last 5 games were abysmal. Now they're up to 228 batting average, 293 on base, which he was getting.
He's the OBP guy.
He needs to be an on-base guy. A reason they were considering him in the leadoff spot, and he hit leadoff on opening days because he gets on base. 293 OBP is unacceptable for him. He has had some pop this year, so the home runs have kind of saved him. So now he's up to a 112 WRC plus. But the way he's gotten there has not been how I thought he would, because last year, I don't know what his on-base percentage was, but I think it was, I can look it up, but he should, in my mind, be like a 340, 350 on-base guy.
Yeah. Well, and I think everybody this year too, after the way that he ended the year and just, was so good. It was
322 last year. So, but I still think he has the potential to be a guy who gets on base 33 to 35% of the time.
I think everybody really expected another level up from him this year, just because he looked like he was progressing, getting comfortable in the spot. This is his position. This is 100%, his roster position. This is it. He's the starter. and we expected him to take another leap. But yeah, he just hasn't started off slow, but lately, again, I talk about that piece of hitting. When he is, because he's got such a high on base percentage, the reason for that is because he just sees the ball so well and is able to spit on things that he's not trying to swing at. And unfortunately, for the first part of the season, he's just been I don't think he's been seeing the ball as well. He just hasn't been seeing the ball and been swinging at things that he's not normally swinging at. And when he's locked in, he's swinging at strikes, and that's why you see him being able to barrel up the ball, being able to take the walks when the pitcher doesn't come to him. And I think he still could be if high on base percentage. Like that's why when we were looking at him in the catcher spot, it made records. that he was the
leadoff spot,
catcher in the leadoff spot. What did I say? That he makes a lot of sense for him to be there, and I think he gets back to that guy. So it's good to see him hit because
I expected a lot more out of him offensively.
And I still do. I still do. It's not like I'm saying like this is who this guy is. I think he's had a slow start, and I fully expect him to level out for sure. I do. I think he's a good hitter.
I agree. I think he's a good hitter. Like going into the season, if someone had told you the Yankees' second best offensive player this year is going to be Austin Wells, you wouldn't have balked at that.
No, absolutely not. Because that's what attracts. And again, like him coming up, that was his calling card. His calling card was his offense. It wasn't his defense. And so yeah,
his framing has been very good. I don't think he throws runners. No one throws runners anymore because it's just cards are stacked against you to throwing out runners. But I think he's a
but his framing was good enough because last year he had a higher he was ranked higher than Trevino even.
No, I'm saying his framing has been a lot better than anyone thought it was going to. His defense has been better than anyone thought it was going to be, like coming up through the system.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Guess what? You're really good at framing. Guess what's coming next year?
I know. Yeah, I know.
Pitches.
But then
you can the what is it? The TrackMan system, or whatever it is.
JC Escara, it was a fun story. Uber driver gets on the major league team. I have not been impressed with him offensively or defensively. And so I think that's why they're going to have a look at Ben Rice as catcher, because I don't expect them to carry. If Ben Rice can be a backup catcher, do you expect them to continue carrying Escara?
Probably not. Not the way with Stanton back in the way that Rice is hitting. If Ben Rice can hold that down defensively, and that's the big question for me is like, can he be that guy?
Like,
I don't know.
So here's the concern is if you're just sticking Ben Rice at catcher once a week to get him more at bats, but as a result of that, you're like, well, we can't have him in a close game catching. So most of the time Wells is going to be coming in to replace him defensively. That's not really a day off for Wells. Like if Wells is catching 2 or 3 innings every time he's supposed to be off, like that's not serving the purpose of getting him rest.
It still puts them in a difficult position because the only time then that Rice can really get in the game is if he's playing catcher, right? Because if you have him anywhere else,
Stanton's gonna sit.
I know,
right? If you have him somewhere else, so you need to carry Escara still.
That's the thing. Like if you still want to continue to get his bat in consistently, you got to give Goldschmidt days off. There's things that you got to do to still keep that rotation going. And yeah, if he's out there playing first base, obviously he could slot in defensively, but that's just a tough position to be in. He's not a true backup catcher.
It's risky for sure. And then you look at
Jazz just has a groin injury. We'll see what comes up of that. I don't know. Those can nag and be a problem.
So who do you think? I know Ben Rice is the emergency catcher. Who's the emergency catcher? Like if Ben Rice is the backup catcher, who becomes the emergency catcher?
DJ?
No. He fouled that ball off his foot last night. I'm like, oh, that's a wrap.
Dude, yeah, I know. Like, please, the baseball needs to stay away from his feet completely.
He was like, he waved Boone away.
Yeah. Well, because he's like, not this time, motherfucker. Like,
I've had so many I've been microdosing cortisone. I can't feel my foot.
Microdosing cortisone. Yeah. No, I think it's an interesting position for them to be in because they obviously want to keep Ben Rice's bat up there, but yeah, they have a roster dilemma coming up.
Can Grisham catch? I feel like Grisham could catch.
Probably. I think there's There's probably a few guys that can.
Wait,
just
does
go off on.
Grisham throw lefty?
I thought Goldschmidt could catch too.
Does Grisham throw lefty though?
Yeah.
Then he can't catch.
He could.
Former Yankee catchers. This was a big weekend for former Yankee catchers because we saw Carlos Narvaez.
There are so many of them because the Yankees have drafted and signed catchers, coming out of their ears for the last 15 years.
So Carlos Narvaez traded to Boston in the offseason for Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, who's in the minors, and future considerations, TBD if that's cash or players. He's currently hitting 281 with a 127 WRC plus for Boston. Old friend Jose Trevino traded to Cincinnati for Fernando Cruz, who has contributed, and Alex Jackson, who is a journeyman, 30-year-old catcher who's bounced around to 5 teams. Trevino currently hitting 304 with 128 WRC plus for Cincinnati.
He's really good in the first half of the year, though.
It's just like a slap in the face, to be honest with you.
It's not a slap in the face because we got Fernando Cruz, who is a high level effective reliever.
Narvaez is a bit of a slap in the face because that's a guy who could have very easily been your backup catcher and maybe not even a backup, maybe a 30-40% playing time type of guy to get him and Wells both plenty of at bats. And instead you traded him for someone named Elmer Rodriguez Cruz.
Yeah, who might be the second coming. You never know. But I think it's a tough spot for they have so many roster spots that they have to protect, in the minor leagues as well. And with the amount of catching depth that they do have, you're just going to miss. You're going to miss on some of them. And, and that's going to be an opportunity for the other guys. And Trevino was just never going to be on this team.
I think the Trevino thing had run its course. He was a detriment throwing runners out. Remember how bad that got?
I mean, JC Escarra hasn't thrown one out yet.
No, but
he's
the Red
zero,
Sox stole
the
Red Sox stole 9 bases in a single game off of Jose Trevino. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. I remember.
Okay, it got to a point where it was 5 stolen bases every series against him.
Yeah. I know, but that's the thing. Like you said, the catching the catching position for throwing guys out in today's game is very difficult. You can't hold the guys on. The bases are bigger, and there's a
clock. There's a number of times you can throw over. It's
one of those crazy things. And Sam's saying that Rodriguez Cruz is a top 10 prospect. I mean, top 10 in the organization. You're looking at him again, when you're using the catching depth to potentially get other areas because you have the depth. That's the point. You're going to trade away good catching.
Elmer Rodriguez Cruz is a top 10 organizational prospect.
That's what Sam is saying. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, I did not know that. If that's the case, then.
And I agree that that trade, whatever, prospect for prospect, you're looking at essentially, it's a coin flip.
Yeah.
Whether if one of them or both of them are going to work out. But when you flip and to this day, I'll look at that. We said it when it happened, Trevino for Cruz, Cruz with the analytics on his breaking stuff is insane. Yes, you signed that guy. That's a very good high leverage guy. And he's been very good.
So Elmer Rodriguez Cruz right now, according to MLB Pipeline, is ranked 6th in the Yankees system. His ETA is 2027. He is in high A ball. He's 21 years old. You want to get a little scouting report action going?
Yeah, give it to me.
Scouting report. He grades a 55 on his fastball, 50 on his curveball, 55 on his slider, 50 on splitter, 45 on control, 45 overall. This is on the
4 pitches.
This is on the was it the 20/80 scale?
Yeah, he's a right-handed pitcher.
Right-handed pitcher.
Yankees love their flame-throwing right-handed pitches.
He's 6'3". Guess his weight. 6'3".
He's probably
3 and 2.5 inches taller than me.
Yeah, he's a $175.
160.
Wow. Yeah. Who is
rail thin?
What was his name? The guy that wore the rec specs. That was
for the Yankees.
Yeah, similar.
Eduardo something.
Yes.
But he wasn't 6'3".
He was tall, but very skinny.
This guy reminds me of the guy from Cleveland. Who's that guy from Cleveland?
I know who you're talking about.
6'7", 106 pounds.
Tristan.
Yeah,
I forget his last name, but yeah.
The lightest player and 3rd youngest selected in the 2021 draft, Rodriguez Cruz, went to the Red Sox in the 4th round. They had him concentrate on gaining strength while handling
and eating
with
hamburgers.
care. pushing his pro debut to June 2022 and holding him to 183 and a third innings across his first 3 seasons. His stuff began to pop in 2024 when he posted a 2.91 ERA with 102 strikeouts and 89 and 2/3 frames at 2 Class A stops. And Boston dealt him and some international bonus pool money to acquire Narvaez from the Yankees.
It wasn't Eduardo. It was like Edouard
Ramirez.
Eduardo Ramirez. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we got like 8 more minutes. I have a hard stop here, but a couple more things we want to mention. So Stanton is rehabbing with AA. He could be back this weekend against the Red Sox. Meredith was on the broadcast last night talking about the outfield rotation, how it's going to be impacted when Stanton comes back, because Trent Grisham has still been getting basically everyday playing time. I have a little bit of a nitpick. So I know that Jason Dominguez's numbers against left-handed pitching, so him batting right, are not good. I understand the splits, but he's basically an automatic sit against left-handed pitching. If you're a switch hitter, what's the point of being a switch hitter if you're an automatic sit against one of the sides of the pitchers? And if you're the Yankees, this is not a 33-year-old guy who's not going to develop anymore. How do you ever expect Jason Dominguez to get better against left-handed pitching if you sit him against every left-handed pitcher?
It is Julio mentioned this a little bit ago in the chat, said something about I'm a little worried about JD. It feels like the Yankees plan is way different from Volpe's. Yes, it 100% is. Well, first of all, Volpe came in as obviously the shortstop. They had nothing out there. They have a ton of outfielders, and the fact that Grisham has been playing the way he is the reason why he's not playing as much. But you're right. And we've been harping on this for such a long time with specifically the left field position and young guys coming up. Like, these guys aren't given an opportunity to take a job and develop and stay in that spot. And he's done absolutely nothing defensively or offensively that says like he shouldn't be in the lineup and working on that right-hand side. But left-handed, he's been fantastic, and he's been sitting a lot. He just hasn't been getting any consistent.
Well, they've faced a bunch of lefties lately, so that's why he's sitting. But so what has he sat? 3 out of the last 4 games. But it's like, don't you want?
That's a lot.
That's too much. That's too much. It's too much for a 21-year-old, or whatever it is. Like, don't you want him to be a middle of the bat switch hitting hitter who can hit lefties? Don't you want that? How is he going to get there if he doesn't get at bats against the lefties? Like,
100%.
It just doesn't make any freaking sense to me.
At this point, I'm like, I mean, it's real. It's still, even though Grisham hasn't been hitting like he's definitely slowed down.
Fine. He's okay.
He's a hell of a defender. Obviously, he robbed 2 plays last night that were great plays. He's a very good defender, their best center fielder. And then you have Cody Bellinger going into left field, because you're not going to sit Cody Bellinger in that spot. And that's where we are with this right now. Unfortunately, I don't know. There's not a really good solution, to be honest.
He should have gotten one of these starts against Kansas City. You're facing 2 lefties. You need to play one of those games.
I agree with you. And and that's where you have to sit Grisham at this point. Like, Grisham should be starting to get in there less. He should be, and Dominguez, you should start divvying those games up and giving more of them to Dominguez, put Bellinger in center field, and just stay the course with that and let it see. Because look,
reminds me,
I am so grateful for what Trent Grisham has been and done for this team at this point.
Beyond.
But to think that he's going to continue to do what he's been doing, or even remotely close to that, is just a little unrealistic. I think he'll always be a glove. You gotta
give Dominguez the chance to improve against lefties. So I remember something Paul O'Neill said, that when he was in Cincinnati, he was a platoon player. He only hit against righties. He came over to the Yankees, and Buck Showalter asked him, or he was talking to Buck Showalter about how he never plays against lefties. And Buck Showalter, I forget the exact thing he said, but O'Neill was talking like Buck basically said, well, you can't hit lefties he said, you're never going to hit lefties if you don't face lefties. Yeah. And so I'm putting you in there against lefties. And then he started to hit lefties. Okay. Paul O'Neill became a player that it didn't matter who was on the mound. You're playing him. And he was just a left-handed hitter. Jason Dominguez is a switch hitter for this very freaking point. Like,
Yeah.
If he's never going to play against lefties, then just have him focus on left-handed. It's just like the whole thing is just it's
maybe he
ass
can hit
backwards.
lefties better as a lefty, if he's getting the reps, but you don't even figure that out.
It's ass backwards with a young top prospect that you think should be like an all-star level player. Like,
yes,
give him the chance to be it. Let him fail and then make that decision. Don't decide he's going to fail before he has a chance to.
my wife Bevan was a very good softball player growing up, played through college, was very good. Her dad always said to her, and she could hit, she always could hit, but to get it outside and to hit, you got to hit to hit.
Mm-hmm.
You got to hit to hit. And it's so true. If you don't put the reps in and see it and get a feel for it at the major league level, the current position, the level that you're at, then how are you supposed to excel? How are you supposed to get better?
Swings in the batting cage ain't going to do it.
Wet swings in the batting cage and a tube are not the same thing as facing a lefty from the other side. 100%. Mm-hmm. And I think it's got to play out for the rest of the season a little bit more in Dominguez's favor. It just has to.
Mm-hmm. All right. Last thing I want to touch on, because I did praise Boone earlier this episode, and we have not done a lot of Boone bashing this year, but I have a bone to pick with him because we were talking about this in our text chat. So Jazz sat on Saturday against Crochet, and Boone before the game said it was a scheduled day off for Jazz, who recently came off the IL. And they probably scheduled it because they're going to be facing a lefty. The second that Crochet left the game, mm-hmm. and there was an opportunity for Pablo Reyes, by the way, Pablo Reyes, I don't care, should never be starting a major league game for the Yankees. Mm-hmm. Okay. Not against Garrett Crochet.
He's not even a good defender, so I don't even know why he's on this team, to be honest.
Not against anybody. Pablo Reyes can get out of my face. Okay.
No offense to Pablo Reyes. Nice guy, I'm sure. You're just, it's just
the second that Reyes' spot on the order came around and there was a righty on the mound, Jazz pinch hit. So that was the 7th inning. So Jazz played 3 innings and got 2 at-bats. That's not a day off. If you're giving Jazz a day off because he needs a day off after just coming off the IL, then give him the day off. Actually rest. Because you have to get your body ready to go play 3 innings and 2 at-bats. I'm sorry, that's not a day off. The same kind of thing I was talking about. Like if Austin Wells is going to catch 3 innings every time Ben Rice starts, that's not a day off for Austin Wells. That's beside the fact.
I was going to say my gripe lies somewhere different in this.
Somewhere different, which is it was probably scripted that the second that the opportunity is there for Jazz to be facing a righty and Pablo Reyes is coming up, you pinch hit him. So it's scripted, except Boone didn't look at the game situation. The game situation was the Yankees are down by 3 runs to lead off the 7th inning. Is that an opportunity you want to burn your pinch hitter? Don't you want to use your pinch hitter if there's a chance for him to drive in some runs?
Oh, you mean when Pablo Reyes was up the time before that against Garrett Crochet? Do you want Pablo Reyes up in the box right-handed or Jazz Chisholm up in the box left-handed?
Exactly.
Crochet, because every single time I will take Jazz up against Pablo Reyes. I don't give a rat's ass about the lefty righty matchup.
Exactly. And so it's just following the pregame script and not looking at the game in front of you, deciding this makes sense, this doesn't make sense.
Well, I'm happy the fact that we haven't really had much to say about Boone, to be honest, through this time. So we got to find
game situations like this that I still look at it and I'm like, you have not improved.
No, he's definitely still the same guy in that regard, and that's concerning. But
all right,
that's
gonna wrap up.
It's been pretty decent. He's been relatively hands off, I would say.
Yeah, they've played a lot of AL Central, so that's gonna wrap up today's show. Thank you everyone who joined on YouTube and was commenting, and for everyone listening at home.
Note the schedule change. We're flipping from Thursday to Monday mornings. Mondays are better. We're going to start the week with you guys. Come join us 9 a.m. on YouTube every Monday morning, starting this Monday. So we'll actually talk to you in a few days. It's going to feel like old times.
Talk to you Monday morning after the Red Sox series.